Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for tuning in. This is Rosie Fro. I am Rochelle Mussolini and it is so lovely to meet you. If you have not subscribed yet, you know what to do. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and remember to chat to me in the comments down below. So today's video is a little bit different and I've been wanting to share this for a long time. It's been in my heart and I feel like today is the day to do that. So we're going to do a little bit of a get ready with me and chit chat, and basically what I really want to talk about is my experience with self-image, self-confidence, self-esteem, you know, all of these things that we all struggle with as human beings. And I feel like I've made good progress and I just really wanted to share that. So get ready with me. I'm going to put on some makeup. I'm not really going anywhere because it's level 3 lockdown in South Africa and I work from home, but maybe my husband will appreciate it, you know. So let's start with, I'm going to start with my eyes and I'm going to use this palette. It is the W7 Socialite Palette, and then I am going to do my eyebrows. So I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Skinny Definer Brow Artist in the color Brunette. That's what it looks like. By the way, let me just say that before you put on makeup, probably it's a good idea to take care of your skin. So make sure you've washed it and you've moisturized it. I've done that. I've also got SPF on my face. There are a lot of things happening right now. I've got some hyperpigmentation, but we're not going to worry about that. Don't pay too much attention to that. It's life. These things happen. So we are going to start the story maybe from the beginning. Childhood days. Let me just show you the brushes I'm going to use first. This is the color blending brush. Color Blending 486. That's what it looks like. So when I was a child, so I'm one of 5. I've got 4 siblings, and when I was younger, I was very shy and introverted, and I don't really know why that was, because my mom and my dad are not really shy and introverted, but I was. And fast forward a few years later to, you know, when I had to go to school and make friends, and I think that went relatively well under the circumstances. I wasn't popular, I wasn't really brave, I wasn't outspoken, but you know, I did the thing. So fast forward a few years into puberty, where you become more aware of the opposite sex and physical attraction starts to play a part in the game, and your body starts to change and hormonal changes and all of these weird things are happening, and all of a sudden the boys are looking at the girls and you realize, oh my word, it's quite a big like physical attraction game going on, and that was the start of the comparison game. Oh my goodness. So there I was with my thick bushy curly hair and my no real understanding of what was happening to my body, and immediately I started comparing myself to the other girls. You know, was my hair straight enough? Was my nose pointy enough? Was my skin the correct shade of brown? Were my eyes light in color? All of these like really weird things. I just started this comparison game, and what actually happened was I realized, well, I didn't realize it because it's not true, but that's where the really terrible and destructive thoughts came into play. Thoughts that said, you know, Rochelle, you're ugly, you're not talented, you are not attractive. So keep it simple, keep your head down, try not to stand out too much. And that's when I really started, you know, straightening my hair and not speaking out as much, being the quiet one in the group. I can say that I absolutely always loved to laugh. I loved jokes and I liked to be around people who told jokes. I loved to read as a child. I loved to play. My favorite thing to do was to play. I didn't really care about school. I was good enough at school, but I knew that if I worked any harder at it, the attention would be put on me, because then I'd be a teacher's pet, or I'd be number one, or really weird, and I didn't want that attention because I didn't feel as if I deserved it, and that was solely based on what I thought about what I looked like. So because I thought I was ugly, I thought I have nothing to contribute, so let me just stay quiet and fly under the radar. So because of this experience, I can say that I missed a lot of opportunities as a child. I missed the opportunities to take part in extramural activities, to really just make friends, to explore my personality, to dance, to just like so many things I missed out on because I just thought that I was ugly and I had nothing to contribute. So in that same time period, I was about 11 years old when I got saved. I accepted Christ Jesus into my life as my Lord and personal Savior, and I can tell you that, I mean, nothing really drastically changed. It was a journey. It was a journey towards self-love. And I remember growing up in church as a young girl, hearing my dad, who's the pastor of the church, say, "You are made in the image of Christ, and you are fearfully and wonderfully made," quoting all of these scriptures. And I mean, I didn't understand what it meant, and I didn't even feel bold or courageous enough to ask, what does this mean? Help me to understand it. I was just willing to, to just exist. But that salvation at the age of 11 was not in vain. And hearing that message and having it kind of stick in my brain was also not in vain, because years later, it would really start to, come into play. So I carry on throughout my teenage years, and I make okay amount of friends, but I still have this like huge complex where I'm like, I'm the ugly one in the group and I fly under the radar and I don't have any talent, so blah blah blah, And at the age of like 17 or 18, I remember it was it Christmas? It was a Christmas, yes. And at that time, my sister's boyfriend, my elder sister's boyfriend, was the worship and praise band leader at church. And I remember that I bought myself a Sony Express Music with my first salary or whatever, and I was listening to music, and I had my headphones or my earphones in, and I was doing the dishes, and that was the same day that I dropped my phone in that water. But anyway, there I was singing I don't know what, and he heard me, and he came into the kitchen and he said, "You can sing." And I was like, "What? No." And he was like, "Come to band practice, to praise and worship team practice." I'm like, okay, whatever. Because at that time, my sister was singing in the worship team. So off I went. And no, I am no Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston or anyone, but I can hold a note. So, that whole journey toward discovering the fact that I actually had a little bit of talent began. And I remember months later, after being a part of the praise and worship team and singing in church, realizing, oh my word, I am not good for nothing. I have some talent, right? So a little bit of my confidence started to build. I was still straightening my hair, still, being a little bit introverted and shy, didn't really speak out, blah, blah, blah. So I think at the age of 17, 18, 19, I think at 19, I started my first year at university, and still, I believed I had a little bit of talent, but I had that kind of same mindset where I was just willing to fly under the radar. And I didn't really make very many friends because I was really still struggling with my identity. Let's fast track this even further to maybe when I was 20 or 21. I remember that, so my mom used to straighten and relax my hair and to do all of those wonderful things because my hair was too thick and it was too curly and she couldn't handle it. So I carried on that tradition. I used to relax and straighten my hair by myself as I got older. So went to university, and when you go to university and you see all kinds of people, and I'm like, oh my word, people here wear their hair in whatever way they want to. And I remember it was summer, and the wet look was very popular, and what do they call it? Wash and wear was very popular. So I was like, I'm gonna wear my hair. And I remember the relaxer actually, you know, just relaxed the thickness of the hair, but the curls were present. And I was like, oh, this could be a look. It was not a look because the hair was damaged. But anyway, so off I went with my wet look, relaxed curly hair, and some people complimented me and some people did not. My family was like, what is going on with your hair when you're going to blow dry it? My boyfriend at the time did not like it at all, and that's why he was my boyfriend at the time. My colleague at that time, who is now my husband, you know, maybe there's a message in this, was very supportive, and he was one of the first people who was like, your hair looks really cool. And I was like, oh my God, don't notice me. But he did, you know, and there were a few more people who were like, I like your hair. And I eventually started to do some research on this whole hair thing, and I met a girl, shout out to Roseanne, hey, she really helped me with my natural hair journey, and you know, just gave me more information, helped me with, you know, a routine, blah blah blah, big chop, etc. Went through that entire process, started to really embrace my hair, and that is when the journey toward, you know, just my self-esteem, or discovering who I was, and you know, the journey to me gaining more confidence in my own body really started, because something very strange happened. And that was that because my hair was so big, I could no longer hide. I couldn't hide. I could not. People were staring. People were commenting. People wanted to touch it. People wanted to talk to me about it. And I didn't really know very much about it, you know. It was very new to me, but I realized that I could no longer hide. And I was like, but this feels good. This feels freeing. And I do have something to say, and I do have something to contribute, even if it's just on the topic of my hair and what I've been through. And slowly but surely, I remembered the scripture, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And I asked God for, you know, more revelation on what this meant. And as time went on, it really just started to settle in my spirit that the way I was made is wonderful. The way you were made is wonderful. And God did not make any mistakes when He made you with your thick hair, your straight hair, your long hair, your bushy hair, your coarse hair, your big nose, small nose, no lips, small lips, big lips. He did not make a mistake. But because I was paying attention to what society said was beautiful, I had allowed myself to remain trapped on the inside of me for so long. And oh my goodness, what a discovery. When I realized that I no longer needed to hide, and that I could, you know, speak out, that I had something to contribute, that I am talented, that I am free now, it was life-changing. It was so life-changing. Okay, we're going to do a hyperlapse while I continue with the rest of my face. Okay, so I am using the MAC Studio Waterweight SPF 30 foundation in the color NC44. I'm also going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me concealer in the shade 30. What I wanted to say about me realizing that I was not ugly and that I did not, you know, or that I was not untalented and good for nothing. It really was so freeing. And what I decided to do was I decided to work on myself, you know, a little bit harder. I was like, oh no, let me take better care of myself then. let me go to gym, let me start to eat better, let me start drinking my water, let me stop paying attention to how I'm dressing, let me take care of my hair, let me learn how to do that. And I promise you, it was amazing what had happened. And what happened after that was that my confidence really started to build, my self-esteem. I looked at myself differently. I felt more confident in my own skin, and I realized that no one is made ugly. You're not ugly, you're not untalented, you're not good for nothing. You're just not spending enough time with yourself. You're not listening to your thoughts, you're not focusing on the things that make you excited, that make you happy. You're not doing the things that make you feel good. You're not working on yourself. You're not working on being a better version of yourself. And realizing that, oh, guess what? I forgot to put on a primer on my eyelids. No wonder. Okay, let's carry on. Yeah. So, really, when I started working on myself and looked at all the things that I felt, and looked at all the things that I felt could be made better, like my body, my energy, my mind, my hair, my clothing, I just really felt myself coming into Rochelle, you know, this person that has been a stranger to me for so long. And I can tell you this, that journey only really started in maybe 2012, 8 years ago. I mean, I've been living all my life, or most of it, thinking that I was good for nothing, that I had nothing to contribute. I always knew in my heart that I wanted to be successful. Not there yet, thank you, Lord. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be an asset to society. I wanted to really have good friends. I wanted to learn. I wanted to grow. There were quite a few things I was afraid of because I told myself that I couldn't experience it. I was afraid of traveling. I was afraid of making new friends. I was afraid of really giving my all. I was afraid of standing kind of up for what I wanted and for what I believed in. And all of those things just kind of stemmed from me feeling like I had nothing to contribute, that it didn't matter, that I should just put my head down. And what happened was, as much as it was happening on the inside, it also happened on the outside. I noticed that I walked up straighter. Yes, I used to walk with my shoulders like over. I walked up straight. I really started to form connections and bonds with people. I started to think about what are the things that kind of make me me, and really tap into that. Like, for example, one of the things I noticed from a very young age, something that I did. Part of the reason why maybe I was considered shy was because I wouldn't speak immediately. I'd step into a room and I wouldn't say anything. And I find that that's not necessarily because I was shy, but that I was reading the room. That I first wanted to understand what was happening here, who these people were, so that it would kind of inform how I would interact with them. And that's not a negative thing, and it's not a bad thing. But it took me, you know, time to discover and to realize that for myself. And it's still something I do to this day, and I really enjoy it, because I enjoy people and I enjoy seeing how different we are. And so I'll step into a room and I'll first read it before I start interacting. And I remember that I viewed that as a negative thing. There were so many things about me that I viewed negatively. The fact that I laughed loudly, that was a negative thing, that was bad. Oh my goodness, honestly. When I think about it now, I'm like, really? So the point of me sharing this with you is just to say, if you find yourself in a space where you're feeling like you don't really understand why you exist, or you're feeling not so confident about yourself, or you're just like, ah, I don't really speak very much because I don't have anything to say, or you don't feel as if you're contributing as a person, I just want to say that that is not true. Those are lies. Those are lies about you. You exist for a reason and for a purpose. Now, I can't tell you that. You're going to have to ask God. But I can tell you that God doesn't make mistakes. And it's just a lie from the enemy to hold you back from really living your life and really making an impact. And really showing off, you know, who you are, so that people's lives can be changed and impacted in a positive way. So I want to encourage you and say that God says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And He says that you're made in His image. And He loves you so deeply and so dearly. Okay, so I can tell you that I'm still on this journey to self-discovery and really leaning into my true self. But it is a beautiful journey, a journey of discovery. It is painful at times because you're going to have to approach many truths about yourself. You are going to have to really look at your circle of influence, the people you spend your time with. You may go through a phase where you're unpopular and lonely and alone. And those are all part of the process. I promise you, it makes you stronger, it makes you better. And it is just so freeing to operate in a more authentic version of yourself. This is the Rimmel London Match Perfection Silky Loose Face Powder in the color Transparent 001. So I do not bake because I just find that it really just dries out my skin. But I'm going to use on the same little sponge. It's not a beauty blender, it's just a cheap sponge from NYX. I'm going to pick some up, the smallest amount, I'll show you now, like that. And I'm gonna, just so that my concealer doesn't crease too much, it's gonna crease anyway, like, guys, I don't know, just a little bit. And I'm gonna push it in, 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 push it in. Pushing that little bit of powder, and also on the forehead, on my forehead, and here around my nose. This section gets very oily, so just so that it absorbs some of the oil and the makeup, my makeup lasts just a little bit longer. It doesn't last super long, and I'm not very emotional about that. I can tell you this though, that I've started experimenting with makeup when the pandemic started last year. I've always been very curious, but I've been very afraid because of my low self-esteem issues, and because I've come such a long way, I really didn't want to get lost in the world of makeup, where I believed that I was only good enough when I wore makeup. So all these mind games. But last year I was like, you know what, I feel a lot healthier than what I felt before in terms of how I think about what I look like. So I'm gonna, you know, practice, and I'm going to have some fun, and I'm gonna do this thing. So for contour, it's not really like a serious contour, it's just like a whatever. Just to add a little bit of depth to my face, I'm using this super old Avon palette. This was my mom's, and I stole it like a million years ago, and I never get it back. It's in the shade Warm Sunrise. It's like a 4 quattro situation. You can see we hit the pan quite a few times. I'm gonna find the hollow of my cheek right over here, and I'm just going to pat it in just a little bit, just to deepen that, just like that. And then I'm gonna pick it up. Yeah, blend, just on the top. And then I'm going to take that brush, it's got nothing on it, or at least it's got the leftover contour from what I just did from my cheeks, and I'm just going to add it to my forehead, here where the shadow is. Yay! And maybe because I'm feeling cute, I'm going to just add it to the nose. This is the Revolution Glow Fix Illuminating Fixing Spray. Now, normally what I do is I just push the droplets into my face to just stay on. I like that it adds a little bit, it brings the glow back so you don't look so, you know, pale and ashy. Blend. I am going to add some blush. This is from Essence. It's in the shade Breathtaking, and I'm going to grab my Zorea it's angled contour brush, and it's already got some blush on from the last time. So I just do one pop, get it off because I don't like a lot of blush, and also the shade is very bright. So I'm just gonna pop it on very high up on the cheek, like that. Just like that. So next, I'm gonna use a new product that I just picked up last week. It's the NYX or NYX, whatever you want to call it, High Glass Illuminating Powder in the shade Golden Hour. And I'm going to, of course, use it as a highlighter. And I'm using the Real Techniques setting brush to apply it. Come on, NYX, NYX. Okay. Nothing's really happening. And you really can't even see it. And that's making me sad. Let me pick it up with my finger. Oh goodness me. Very dark. Oh, it's like a paste. Oh, that's pretty when you use your finger. Can you see that? Okay. It's definitely better if you pick it up with your finger. To curl my eyelashes. Add some mascara. What is this? Benefit Badgal Lash. Because I'm going to apply some false lashes. While that is drying, I'm going to show you. I'm going to be using the Eylure London Volume in number 005 3¼ length. I use tweezers, but it is on, and I'm going to go to lips. I'm going to line my lips with the Catrice Velvet Matte Lip Pencil in the color Among the Rosewood. And for lips, I'm going to be using the NYX Powderpuff Lippie in the shade Squad Goals. Yeah. Okay, what do we think about this lip? I don't know how I feel about pink lipstick. I don't know. We're gonna rock this pink lipstick today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And my closing thoughts are, remember that those terrible thoughts you have about yourself that are destructive and that are hurtful and that are mean are lies. They are all lies. You are fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God.